Listeners, joining me today is an eminent personality. He is often dubbed by many as the true Frate of Nagaland and even as the Karantapar of Nagaland as well. He has a YouTube channel with the name The Lungleng Show with 1.03 lakh subscribers and counting as we speak right now. He's none other than Mr. R Lungleng.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir, for being on the show. I am elated to have you and to talk about the organic growth of your YouTube channel and also just to procure knowledge from you as we carry forward with this conversation.
Sure. Thanks for having me.
So first of all, before we get into the questions, I would like to congratulate you for the 100K milestone that you've reached.
Thanks.
How do you feel about it?
Feels wonderful.
Well, you clearly deserve it.
Oh, thank you if you think in that direction. But yeah, like in a state like ours, in a region like ours, having a serious conversation channel that has a conversation on issues and matters, having followed by more than 1 lakh subscribers it's a good thing.
Yeah,
because it's not entertainment. It doesn't really appeal the heart of people as such, because majority of our population love entertainment, and having to grow 1 lakh subscriber as a talk show on issues, on important things, it's a big shocking for me as well. So I feel really wonderful. I feel great. Yeah.
Well, I just pray and hope that your channel will grow more from this point forward.
Thank you.
All right, so shall we proceed to the interview?
Please.
All right.
Yeah.
So to start with, can you kindly introduce yourself to all our listeners, maybe about your childhood upbringing and even about your educational background if you would like to?
Oh yes. Hi listeners. Thanks for tuning in. This is R Lungleng. My actual R stands for ransom, which comes from, I think my father gave me such a weird name. You look at it, because my colleagues, those in the university days, will be like asking me, how come your name be so weird? Ransom? Are you something like, did you kidnap anyone that you ask? I told them it's not about that. It's not the noun form, it's the verb form. So the verb form for ransom means to redeem and to deliver or to liberate or redeem. When you look at the verb form side, it's about the action that is redeeming, being ransomed by the love of Christ. So it always became an opportunity for me to share the gospel indirectly.
Wow.
My name came from such and such. So that's, many people don't know by my name. Only my close friends would know my actual name. So my name is R Lungleng. I was born and brought up in a village, in a far remote village, and I did my study up to class 5 in village, and then I didn't study class 6. I jumped to class 7, and from 7 I did in a small town. Then for BA I did in political science, politics and public administration. And that's how I started learning about politics. And then for masters, I did in Tata Institute of Social Sciences in Mumbai. So that's where I started thinking about issues in the real world. And that's how my journey began as someone who is concerned about social issues, political issues, and so on. So yes, and I've been in Nagaland since 2014. And I love being here. So I've never moved away since then. In between, I went to Germany as a German Chancellor Fellowship, which was awarded to me by the federal government of Germany. And yes, I did my project research in Germany for 2 years. And then during the peak of COVID, I came home, I came back and never went out of Nagaland again. So this is how I ended up doing a talk show where many people think it's, something that is done by jobless people. So I'm doing that right now.
No, it's not like that. It's quite rewarding, actually.
Yeah, thank you.
And it's quite interesting to learn about your past, about your upbringing, about your name, the meaning behind it.
I know. I would not have said it if it is a video, podcast.
Okay.
It is radio, so it's okay.
Well, thank you so much for being vulnerable and sharing about that to our listeners.
Yeah.
And then you also have quite an intriguing educational background that I can say, from going to prestigious institutions like Tata Institute and even going abroad for your studies, right?
Yeah.
And even being awarded with fellowship programs, as you have mentioned right now. So what was the process like for you, and are there any tips for the listeners if they would like to procure such benefits?
Okay, yes. As soon as I did my master it's called development practice under the School of Social Work. So as soon as I completed that, I appeared for one exam, which is an All India exam, and that does not exist anymore. It was conducted by the Ministry of Rural Development. So it's about Prime Minister's Rural Development Fellowship. So my life revolves around fellowship, throughout my more than, let's say, 7 years of experience. Okay. And then, I cracked that exam and I worked as a Prime Minister's Rural Development Fellow in the state of Nagaland. That's how I ended up in Nagaland. So yes, I had to work hard to get through that exam. It's not a UPSC style exam. It's a professional exam. So in rural development. So I did that, and then I worked here for 3 years under that fellowship, and then I thought it's time to change the course of direction, not always working for rural development. So there was a German Chancellor Fellowship announcement from Germany. So I thought I would apply for that. So people started applying for about 3-4 months ahead, but I got to learn about it just in 2 weeks' time. So I had to run around, did all that was necessary, and yeah, I applied for it, proposing my project proposal and so on. And then yes, after about more than 7 months, I got the news that I've been selected for interview. So they sponsored me to bring to Germany, and then how I got was, I think it was all about the quality of my project proposal.
Okay.
I think they really screened that, and then they called us for interview, and that is a fellowship for diplomatic reasons, because Germany created that fellowship for 5 countries like India, Russia, China, Brazil, and the US. So, and they were supposed to select 10 fellows from each of these countries. And from India, we were called for interview with 15 people, and 10 of us got selected. So it was a conglomeration of fellows from different countries, these 5 countries. It's like I said, it's for diplomatic purpose. This fellowship was created. So it was one of the best experiences that I have ever had in my life.
Right.
Learning so much about things about Europe and Germany and their policies, as well as got an opportunity to interact with your fellows from other countries.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's wonderful, and I think that really shaped my views about the issues in a local context. When you look back to your region from that angle, from that perspective, when you're out of your country, that really played a huge role in my life as well.
Shedding light in a different direction.
Exactly.
Yeah, looking at it from a different perspective for you.
Very important, yeah.
Well, that's a really good experience that you've had. And thank you so much for sharing that to all of us. Now, we know Mr. Lungleng on camera. So how is Mr. Lungleng off camera? I just want to know.
That's a good question. I'm more of a development professional. So I still give my part-time consultancy to government.
Okay.
So, and part-time I do my show, and then that's what I do. However, regarding my personalities, I would say I don't believe in, having lots of friends. I have few genuine friends, and I get to always hang out with them whenever I'm free. Otherwise, I don't hang out much as well. I love being alone, not all the time, but yeah, when I'm alone, I can be alone. I can do that, and I can go to movie alone as well if I need to, and I can go to restaurant and eat food alone. So I'm more of a, very purposive person. Whatever I do, I want it to be purposeful. I just don't want to hang around and just go to an event without any purpose. And I'm a fun-loving person. So once I'm comfortable with the person, with my friend circles, they don't see me as the one who is seen on media or on YouTube or wherever. Sometimes as friends, we don't have that boundary anymore. We don't have to maintain that boundary and respect or whatever. It doesn't mean we don't respect each other.
Yes.
But like, we've become very frank, and I think that's how I am. But yeah, I have that serious face and serious demeanor whenever I appear on camera, and also because I have to.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's how I am, I think, in short.
Okay. I can relate to you on wanting to be alone on a spiritual level. So now, what is the story behind creating this YouTube channel? What was the inspiration for you to take this decision?
Yes, that's important. I think I did not decide one morning I get up and I did not decide it. No, I need to start this. It's not like that. So since my class 12 days, I was so much into social science, and we got introduced to this Kofi Annan, the Secretary General of the United Nations.
Okay.
So I got so much attracted to the way he works. And then I thought maybe one day I'll be, able to work on a platform like his. But yeah, the course of life, the course of direction changed. And then I started trying to understand about social problems. And then I thought this need to be discussed. So I think a platform like this is very important for a discussion.
Yes.
So I thought we should do something about this. Yeah, I just started without thinking much about it, without thinking about how much it's going to cost me in terms of time and resources. And a lot of it, I didn't think much. It just started, and this is how it has taken me so far. And I think now it looks more like something that I can really invest my time and do more on such things. That's how I started.
Well, I must admit that your decision to start this YouTube channel has garnered a lot of attention lately, and that it has been fruitful and really helpful even for us, the viewers and your subscribers, where you bring awareness to us by sensitizing us on different pertinent topics as well. So thank you so much for starting up this channel. Now, speaking of which, your content is usually educational based, right? So how do you curate the topics to discuss, or maybe the guests or the experts to invite to your show, I want to know the behind the scene process.
There are two ways I decide my guest or my talk, for example. Either the guest or either the issue. Sometimes you're very concerned about the issue and you start looking for the right person to talk to. No one in mind, but you start researching the person and then you find the person. And secondly, it's about the guest. So the guest seems interesting. It's a personality. So I have to talk to that person on certain issue. I have to research the issue.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like it works in both ways.
Yeah.
But most of us, you know what we do? We just target the person most of the time. And that's not how talk shows should go. Sometimes I bring people from entertainment industry and I don't talk about entertainment. I talk about, the substance revolved around their work in their life. For example, I talk to those Miss Beauty pageant and beauty pageant participants. Yes. And I don't want to talk about, how beautiful things are, this and that, but I just want to understand their personality, what they really believe and what really happens in beauty pageant and so on. And I got a chance to talk to one, that Dolly Nojishi, the UPSC lady. And I don't want to hey, how you crack how much you work hard and this and that. But the background, the hard work behind for an aspirant and the journey that took them and the mental health, the toll that takes on their mental health. And so all this needs to be discussed. So I look at it differently. I try to look at it differently and I just don't want to be so shallow whenever I talk to people from different industries. So like I said, I use these two yardsticks. You look at the issue and find the person, and you find the person, you look at the issue. Okay. That's what I do normally.
Well, I believe that a lot of effort and thought process goes into it.
Yeah.
And with that also, you might face different challenges as well. So what are the challenges that you face as a content creator?
As a content creator, the challenge is, of course, the return of investment. You invest something, your time, your energy, and it's running around. See, the background behind a talk show is not simple. It's just a 5% that people see. The final production is just about 5%. The 95% is like your mind, your preparation, and the technical equipments, battery charging, camera, and card, memory card formatting and transferring. And it's just a final product that people see. So those are the challenges, and you have to love it. If you don't love it, you won't do it. Because if you do it because people think that it's a nice thing, then it'll never work. I do it because I don't know how I stay awake till 2 a.m. when I started editing, and I love how it's produced and the content that I want to share with people. It's all about love. So I always give this example. As youngsters, if you fall in love or if you have a crush, you wouldn't realize how tiring it is to go and meet that person. This is the best way to understand for youngsters. I'm sure the listeners will be a lot of youngsters. So you have to have that passion to do something in life. And like I said, I used to do full-time job, but recently I have just shifted to a part-time. So amount of work that I spend in office and amount of time and pressure that I spend in my studio and travel and so on, I think not any sane person would do that. But since it's a passion, you just love it. That's why you end up being there. Definitely pushed by your instincts. Yeah, I think I would say that, yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing that. Now, can you share one experience that you had on the show with maybe your guests, where you had different opinion about something and that guest on the show changed your perspective?
That's interesting. Like I said, I don't know much about entertainment industry. And for political issue, I would say there's never been such moment where my mind is changed, my perspective is changed. Not because I know everything, but because whatever question I ask, I think I have thought about it.
Yes.
So I have my firm belief in what I say. And most of the time we end up complementing each other in our perspective. So there's never been big difference that, this is a new thing. I think I have totally changed. It never used to be like that, for example. But one thing is entertainment. When I talked to Rufo, she explained a lot about the process that went behind, process that followed to becoming a participant. Because all I thought was mostly just a pageant, just showing off their working style, and their beauty and such and so on. But the grooming process is something that she really sensitized me. And that somehow changed me. So I don't look at beauty pageant the way I used to look at it, anymore. I look at it as one platform where young girls can groom themselves. Whether they win or not win, that should not matter much. But the amount, the opportunity to participate and get themselves groomed is, I believe, very, very important.
Yes.
So I would strongly encourage people who are interested in it so that You can change the way you communicate with people. You can change the way you express yourself. I think that will really push your personality to a new different level.
I think when it comes to entertainment industry, especially the pageantry world, there is a lot of misconception and preconceived notion that we have surrounding the beauty industry as well. So I think her being on the show, it changed my perspective as well towards it. And thank you so much for sharing that to all of us. Now I have $1 million question for you.
Oh yeah, sure. I wish I get the money as well.
So you go through your comment section. If yes, then how do you react to it, or how do you take those comments, like be it positive or be it negative comments?
Yeah, I'm a person who wants to be very objective, because objectivity is an art and it's key to live a life that makes sense. And for me, I want to be logical in whatever I do. I mean, that's the foundation that I have in myself. So when people give comment that makes sense, whether negative or positive, I happily accept them. But it may be very positive comments, just literally adoring me. But when that doesn't make sense, it doesn't make sense. Like, I don't give much attention to that because it doesn't help you, right? The voters can just go to minister and the MLA can just praise like anything. The BJP party, for example, or any literal worshipping Modi. That should not make him happy because that's not objective. It's all fake. I don't want fake praise, So when people praise me a lot on comment that will not really make sense, then I won't take it. When people critique me a lot on comment section that doesn't make sense, I won't take it. And it doesn't affect me at all. But any critic that really makes sense and really expose my weakness or expose my, for example, hypocrisy example. If those really comment exist like that, I would love it and I would change that immediately. In the next show, I would change myself and improve on that. To my mind, it's very important. I don't take anything personally anymore. I read comment, of course, but not every time waiting for it. But just when I get time, I'll just go through just have a glance. And then when I found out that there's a very, very negative comment personally attacking me, I'll just leave it that way because my viewers know me.
Yeah.
So I will not be the one defending it, like defending myself. My viewers will be the ones just jumping over on that guy and just, I think it's a world of objectivity that I want to build. So I think my viewers understand me better than anyone now. Yeah, so I'm very positive about the comments.
It's so nice that you also build up a community where they support you for who you are.
They're so nice it's so nice of them.
Now, since you also put up a lot of political related issues,
yes.
So how important is it for one to be politically educated?
I think people who are involved in politics, they are the one who makes it dirty. I mean, you are in the church doesn't mean you are clean, you're holy. There are many corrupt people in church, and there are many people who make a lot of dirty things in church. If you take the same yardstick, then people in the church are equally dirty. There's no clean place as such. You may work with the prostitutes. You can be wholly clean and acceptable person. Working with the prostitutes or sex workers in social term doesn't mean you become part of them. You work with them. You're still different. So being in politics doesn't mean you compromise all your values. But yes, I would say 99% of the politicians or people who work in politics, they compromise their values. They compromise their integrity and moral stance. That's why politics is always viewed as such. And I don't deny people for viewing like that. But politics is something we all should be concerned about. Every breath that you take is being influenced by politics. And people who are seated in government, on government chairs, and those who make policies. And you are always affected. And so you are Christian, you are a girl, you are a woman, doesn't mean you don't involve in politics. If you don't involve, you're being dictated. So whether like it or not, we all breathe politics in, politics out every single day. So the best thing is involve it, but differently. I would say that.
I am also of the opinion that being politically handicapped and not knowing what's going on around us, it's not a compliment at all. Yeah. And that I'm also working towards that. And I think we should have a paradigm shift in our narratives about the negative connotation of the word politics itself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, speaking of which, I was just going through your videos, and one of your recent uploads was you visiting the Nagaland University as a guest speaker. So how was the experience like for you?
I would say that's one of the best experiences I've ever had in my life. Because, and I know myself, I'm not the person who would take joy in being invited on beauty pageant to host a show, for example, I'm not that kind of person. I don't take much joy in going to a concert and being recognized among the concert goers, for example. Being invited in university means a lot to me. It definitely raises my credibility. It's a recognition of what I do. And having been invited by Nagaland University when I am in Nagaland, what more could I ask for? The young minds that interact with me, they all are very concerned about our issues. Many issues around our society. Just that we didn't get much time to talk about in every detail. But the few issues that we raised were very, very pertinent. And we involve and we live and we sleep and we wake up with those issues every single day. So it was very, very interesting, and that's the kind of place I would like to be maybe all my life. I don't know. And doing producing such kind of content all my life, you know. So I look at it that way. It was so nice of them to invite me, actually, and maybe first university to ever invite so-called YouTuber. You know, I don't consider myself YouTuber because I just use YouTube platform, and I
think you are more of an educator,
podcaster.
Podcaster.
You know, let's look at it that way. YouTube is just a platform. Let's say YouTube is shut down tomorrow. I'll continue doing my things on other platforms, and that doesn't mean I become a Facebooker or Instagrammer. YouTube is just a platform. So when people call me YouTuber, that's very shallow.
In the Q&A session, in that particular video, the attendees and the students were asking you questions from different aspects, be it like American politics or American Constitution, about India, about Nagaland, and so many pertinent topics from around the globe. And what amazed me was that you knew, or you were aware of all the topics that were asked to you, and not just that, you were able to answer it efficiently as well, which reminded me of a college professor that we had. We used to call him the living library.
Oh, where?
So,
which college?
Senatman.
Oh, in Shillong.
Yes.
Wow, great.
So it reminded me of him, which brings me to my next question. How important is it for one to be educated and to have critical thinking skills versus just being literate and having a degree?
Just being literate and having a lot of bookish knowledge. I mean, it's your choice at the end of the day. Some people are more naive about issues, but don't complain. If you want to be naive, okay, leave it that way. There's no one pressuring you to get out of it. But if you choose to be that way, then you're definitely choosing to be happy whatever you have in life. That means if you have a bad road, don't complain. If the majority, let's say community, start oppressing you because you're a minority, then don't complain. So in life, there are too many problems, social, political, economic, and so on. So we have to deal with all of this problem. Or in order to deal with this problem, we need to learn to question. And, you know, everything starts from questioning the force that oppresses us. Without questioning, see, I'm not blaming, but environment in Nagaland is such that people don't question much, all right? People don't question much. And people don't protest. Show me anyone that protests like Arvind Kejriwal, for example, like Anna Hazare, and like any activist that protests in the heart of Delhi or any other states. We don't. Once my Tripura friend told me in Nagaland, he was in Kohima, I was staying with him and the light went off for quite a few hours, and he told me if this was in Tripura, we would have walked on the street protesting against it. So we don't protest because we don't know our right, because we don't question critically. We're just happy the way things are. So I think it's very important. If you want to be just educated that way and just live life like that, then it's fine, it's your choice. But if you're really concerned about the transformation of inner society, I believe that's what we all are called for. And as a Christian or as a human being, you have to contribute something for a betterment. It's because of the blood and because of the hardship that many of our forefathers have gone through that we're seated here happily, right? Someone's effort, we're just reaping the fruit of it. Now, what can our next generation benefit from us? We need to leave behind a better world for the generations to come. So it all starts from critical thinking, questioning the oppressive structure that we have. So for me, that's very important. But if you just want to be a knowledgeable person, read everything and know about everything and be irrelevant in society, that's also an option. Everyone has a choice.
Now, coming back to your channel,
yeah,
are there any events or programs, upcoming programs that we as listeners should look forward to? Or do you want to keep it a secret?
I don't plan long enough. Sometimes it's quite impromptu, as in it's a matter of a few days. And sometimes I do show immediately depending on the erupting issues. So maybe it might happen before you air it.
Okay.
Because the airing will take time. But I'm roughly planning with this Dolly Kikon, Dr. Dolly Kikon.
Okay, they're archaeologists.
Yeah, they're archaeologists. To talk about the repatriation of the Naga human remains. She has been champion of that.
Yes,
so let's see when that will happen. But likely in December, first week or second week. Let's see when she returns to Kohima.
Okay, yeah. Well, that will be interesting. I follow her as well and her work as well.
Oh, yeah.
So I'll be looking forward for that.
Great, thanks.
Are there any tips for the listeners if they want to create a podcast channel that you would like to give out to them?
That's a good question. Yeah, I know there are many people who want to create content, but the easiest way to start for many of us to create content is just vlog. Go to places and have a cute, beautiful face, and all guys will start simping and just look at you and just I think that's not a healthy way of starting a content. At least if you're educated, do something meaningful. Just because, you're showing around the kind of food that you eat. I mean, you can create, it's okay, but I don't think any people who are educated should do that. They can contribute in a more effective way. That's my point. I'm not saying they're wrong. It's just that the amount of education and the years and your parents, the amount of money your parents have spent on you, I think make it meaningful and make the society a better society by contributing something more meaningful, right? Just, hey, I'm going to have family members comment and subscribe. I'm going to this place. But yes, if you want to do it at all, go to a certain place and talk about the substance of that place and show the meaning of that place. It's not just like just wasting time on social media. So my advice would be, it doesn't matter how weak you are in your communication and you're in your English. English language is not a yardstick for our intelligence. All right. So when I was in Germany is known for engineering. BMW, Mercedes, whatnot. Germany is known for engineering. When you look at them, they never use English in all the processes of their engineering process. They just use their own language. English is never the standard of intelligence. So we should deconstruct that. We should destroy that mindset notion that English is a sign of intelligence.
Yes.
Just screw it from now on. Get rid of it. So whatever little language words that you can speak in English, try speaking it. Just start speaking and try to explain. Like I always say, your first content will be very embarrassing. I took down my first content within 24 hours. I talk about how to be self-confident, and I was not confident at all. That was about...
I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, because I took down already.
Okay.
It was very, very embarrassing because I had a monologue talking about like how to be self-confident, and a lot of comment came like, this is funny, you're not even confident. I took it down because it was very, very embarrassing. So the point is, you have to start your first step with an embarrassing content. And without your first embarrassing few contents, you cannot reach your 1,03,000K subscribers and the content that you're creating today. You cannot reach that. We all have to risk that.
Yes.
And you must have risk when you started. And when you listen to your own voice, that's the most awkward thing. And very, you don't want to talk about it.
It's so cringy.
It's very cringy, actually. Yeah, that will be my advice. And on the same line, just think about creating a good content. And the world is amazing. Technology is amazing. Social media is now amazing. If your content is reasonable and good, people will find you out and they will just come forward. Like I always said, nobody came and endorsed my channel. So my friend whenever I meet him, he would always say, your channel just grew organically.
Yeah,
literally,
that's what I was saying in the beginning as well.
Yeah, so
very organic growth.
I know it's so organic, and I don't pay for any promotion. It's just that people love to come and watch.
Yeah.
To me, that's an honor, and I appreciate people and I thank people for that as well. Yeah, just start with good content, and the people are smart enough to identify which one is good, which one is bad. And of course, there are very good amount of not so smart people that they fall into stupid things, like wasting their time on things that will not really benefit them. That also exists. But yeah, life is a choice. You have to choose how you want society to know you.
Thank you so much for that take. Yeah. You have mentioned social media. So I just want to come and touch that point. As youngsters listening to this show as we speak, how do they segregate contents, or how do they utilize their time on social media? I'm
a social media person, and I'm not against social media. It's just that people who are against social media, earlier days before COVID, pastors normally would preach. Not everyone. Mm-hmm. Don't spend time on YouTube. It's devilish thing. It's satanic, and you will see all kinds of this content. But after COVID hit, you know what? Hey, go and watch my sermon on YouTube. It's uploaded there during COVID. Mm-hmm. So the time drastically changed. Not because YouTube changed, but they changed their perspective. They started seeing the reality of the importance of social media. So I would say, when you scroll on YouTube, don't follow all this. If you really want to invest in yourself, you might be following some people on Instagram or YouTube. If you follow, the moment you hit follow them, you'll be fed with their contents. So you have a choice what kind of content you want to consume. That's also self-investment, investing in yourself, okay? Mm. So the moment on Instagram, if you're fed with good content, that means how you're investing yourself every day. So sometimes social media is not bad after all. Mm-hmm. It helps me a lot. It teaches me a lot of perspectives and life lessons. So, sometimes social media influences me to love my family more. My parents, to love my parents more, and to reflect more on my life. And it really helps me digest many things that my subconscious mind, unconscious mind would direct me. But it helps me break down some of it sometimes and make my life better. So follow contents that are reasonable and that you would like to become. The more you follow that kind of content, the more you'll become like them. And it works amazing. It works wonderfully. We just become people who people like them, whom we follow. So it's just like that, and you start following, you start emulating how they speak and how they reason, and it's wonderful. So it's self-investment. Social media is also an investment if you know how to use it. So I would say that.
Thank you so much. That's a very good perspective. Now, if I'm not mistaken, you also have a Patreon platform for your members, right? On
Which
YouTube?
platform? Which platform?
Membership,
I do, yeah.
Yes. So what are the benefits, or how is the content different from the general content that you put out for your subscribers? Can you?
Actually, I have not made much content for members because, yeah, for one or two videos that I want to give specifically members are different. And that doesn't mean I don't bring up on for the public. After a few weeks, after one or two, they are just early birds type. They will enjoy it first. And then after 1 or 2 weeks, the public will enjoy. Because as long as I suppress the access to public, then channel may not grow also. I mean, my goal is at the end of the day to reach out to the public. But you have to think for how to earn a little bit from the investment, time, energy that you're making. So it's just like, hey, you have an early access, then yeah. So if you want to enjoy that, please, you can just become a member. It's just, I think 30 rupees per month. And out of that, you get about 15, 19 rupees. Because YouTube took away a huge portion of that. So I don't think it's a good idea to invest in membership as of now. I don't want YouTube to really, really take away all of that. It's people's money, right? If they give me, then I should use it for my growth, for the channel's growth. But YouTube took it away, big portion of it. So maybe I'm exploring better options right now.
Okay.
So yeah, I'll leave it there, I guess.
All right.
Yeah.
And with that, I think we are coming to the end of this conversation. Before we sign out, is there any message that you would like to give to all our listeners?
All your listeners, yes. Thank you, all listeners, if you're listening here. Life is very short to just accept the way things are as it is. And I would like to encourage everyone listening to think more responsibly in life. And the voice that you raise against certain issues and problems can be a big help tomorrow for some people. And when you raise issues and problems or social problems and political problems in life, don't raise it out of your personal bias. Just because you don't like certain politicians, just don't raise it. But think objectively and taking away just getting rid of all personal biases and assumptions and whatnot. But think about the issue objectively. So imagine all citizens, all voters start speaking very objectively. And when you start thinking objectively, it just doesn't end there. It leads us to the voting platform. So, and thinking objectively will help us vote objectively. So you will vote for policy, not for your relative, not for the one who gives you money. I don't know how you all vote, but when we Nagas, normally when we go to vote, we vote for the MLA that has given a lot of money to us in the past. So we're he has been very kind to our family. But just because he has been kind to your family, he may end up, neglecting all the governance, roads, electricity, water. Who is responsible for that? You are responsible. And I think as a Christian, from a Christian perspective, I don't think God would like that. Just for your personal benefit, you're sacrificing the well-being of everyone. And this is very relevant in our society. You know that, right?
I 100% agree with you.
Yes, that's the problem. Don't be selfish. God calls us to love each other, to help each other. I strongly believe in that. And that starts from involving in politics and involve it in a very clean manner. And God calls us to be that, right? I believe in this.
Thank you so much for being on the show and for this conversation. I really had a good time with you.
Thank you.
And I would like to wish you all the best for your upcoming event and also for your future endeavors. I would also like to take this time to applaud the team behind you, working tirelessly to put up such quality content for the viewers as well. I just hope that your channel will grow bigger in the future.
Thank you, Sangdi. This is a wonderful time. I wish more people tune in and listen to our conversation. To know my thoughts personally, and there are a lot of personal information that I've given. And I want to commend you for such a wonderful host. And you should think outside of this place as well, and do something more vibrant and rich. Let your skill and let your capability be experienced by many more people.
Well, thank you so much. That's a huge compliment coming from you, sir.
Thank you, Sangdi. Thank you.